Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Masters Monday podcast. This is episode 5.
Can you believe it?
I know, pretty cool. So check it out, guys. We are actually on the road. We're going to bring you up to date of what's happening right this exact moment. We have basically been on the road for traveling back and forth to Louisiana and now we're headed back to Florida for the last 3 to 4 days. So what we thought we would do is something a little bit impromptu today and talk about healthy lifestyle habits for the 40 plus, and they may not be what you think. We chose 4. I mean, these are really conversations that we have all the time, these subjects, and we thought we would kind of combine them and put them into a little category of lifestyle habits for the 40 plus. What do you think, babe?
I think it's great, and I just also want to say that we have this being videoed and it is on our YouTube channel, so if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe. That way you can kind of see, yes, we are sitting on a bed in a hotel room in Mobile, Alabama. It's a beautiful morning.
Ma'am.
So we are in the deep south, and that we'll touch base on
which
that.
will play into the podcast in the second half.
It
being
will.
in the deep south, we will talk about that because a lot of our listeners will be from the southern parts of the U.S.
Yeah,
and they
you
struggle. Well, look, it's in me. I don't know what to do.
Oh, it is.
There's no way to purge that out.
No, I've tried. It's not happening. I just work with it. We work together on that. So.
Well, it's going to be funny. It's going to be casual today. And if we're ready to dive in, I don't know if you want to close anything out before we dive in.
I'm ready. Let's
Are you
do it.
good?
I'm good.
So the categories that we're going to talk about today are fitness dates for the 40 plus. Remember, lifestyle habits, good lifestyle habits.
You and I actually had a good fitness date.
We got to get into it later.
Okay.
Modeling behavior for the kiddos. And that doesn't matter if you're married, you're not married, you're an uncle, you're a cousin, right? Model great behavior when it comes to fitness and health. Vacation fitness, or what we could call travel fitness, which is what we had to really step up and do this week because a lot of things were pulling us away on this trip.
Well, I think we've actually, over the past year and a half of consulting, have really had to adjust some things in our life as we became especially a more business
home-based
travel,
business,
right? And that was a big struggle.
Yeah, it's a funny, when you have limited time, you do it.
Right.
When you have lots of time on your hands, you don't. It's very bizarre in how the mind works and your scheduling works. And then the last one is really, and this is where Kerry will go off later, and we'll try to contain her, which is food while traveling. And in this specific episode, we'll talk about food while traveling, but we'll really talk about it if there really aren't great options, nutritionally speaking. I can't wait. I'm actually excited because this is not scripted. I cannot wait to hear this. So let's dive in.
Well, you've been hearing it all week.
I have, and I have to hear it every day if we are traveling in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. God help me.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So listen, fitness dates. We love the category. We absolutely practice this one. I would say out of the 4 that we do, we probably do this about the best.
I think so.
Of the categories. I don't know, but it's right up there. But one of our very first ever fitness days, kind of our coming out party as a couple, was what, babe?
It was a half marathon. We actually decided, and we lived in 2 different cities, we decided that we would start training separately and we'd talk about it. We'd talk about how many miles did you run tomorrow? You need to do this, and let's make sure you do this. And so we would just communicate about that. And then when the day came, we ran.
We literally met and in Orlando and found thank God for cell phones.
Right.
We were able to track each other and find each other near the starting line. And we actually even went a little further on our fitness date, which was kind of cool. We created playlists for basically 2 hours because we weren't sure how fast we were going to run it.
If you don't do this already, this is the cutest thing, and I'm going to sidebar this real quick because hold on. Spotify allows you to make a playlist that you can both add to, or you can have a group of people. You can collaborate.
Right.
So it says collaborate, and so you hit that switch, and then 2 people can collaborate, then use the playlist. So Chan would drop in.
We would build, but then we would kick stuff out on each other. We'd be like, no, that ain't happening. I can't run to that.
Right.
And so anyway, we ended up with about 24 to 25 songs, which we wanted about 2 hours because we figured we really weren't super fast and training for speed
Do you
at
remember
all.
the first song?
Absolutely. It was Our Love Is Fade.
Faded.
Our Love Is Faded by
No, it's just Faded by Kanye West.
Kanye West, first
Yeah.
song. So
Great
when
song.
they fired the gun, that was our lead out song, and we both had the same music in our
So we had
ears.
this
So that
date.
was pretty cool and kind of fun. But the fitness date part of it was really fun for us to do the programming. So look, I understand this. I know for a fact because of my network of people, there are people that are really dating and enjoying each other, but they live in different cities. Or maybe they're in the same city. But anyway, it was a really fun, unique idea for the fitness date that does not negate the fact that you're married and you want to have fitness dates. I think you have to really take control. And we don't mean to be kind of predictable here, but you have to put it as an appointment. And I know you love that part.
I love a scheduler. I love to schedule.
Yes, you absolutely are. But a fitness date can be anything, guys. I would say probably 50% of our training is together.
Right.
So we kind of corny, but we kind of have fitness dates every week.
Well, I think it's important. We don't, if you're on a limited budget, or if there's just not a lot to do in your area, the going for a walk together, riding bikes together, taking a fitness class together, that's always been one of the things that we've done. Now, we're both in the fitness industry, so before we get feedback on, well, it's easy because you guys both are in the industry, it's actually not. We're both in the industry. One of the last things that I want to do is go back to the place that I work to play, right?
Yeah.
So it actually makes it a little more challenging.
Yeah, you have to seek it out.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. And let me just say that when I get to run or work out with Chan, it's one of these things that it makes me just look over it. I do. I look at you and I love watching you work out. I love watching you sweat. I love
watching other people watch you.
Oh.
that's my entertainment.
Oh, that's
is
sweet.
people watching you running into the beams in the studio.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so it does, and then there is actual scientific proof that pheromones, when you sweat, the pheromones kind of.
We are going to be a little sciencey here.
Yeah, but it actually releases the pheromones, that actual attraction scent. Between one another, that's not maybe masked by cologne or perfume, which I've
don't
heard.
do that in the gym anyway.
No, please don't. But I've heard that
We talk about you. If
people actually wear perfume and cologne on their dates, right? And it masks that natural scent that you might be attracted to.
Interesting.
So I'm saying
maybe sans the cologne.
sans the cologne, sans the date night at a bar and a restaurant where you have to eat in front of somebody. I'd rather.
Which, by the way, I mentioned this in the car yesterday.
What?
The younger, we'll just say 30 and under, they're doing this a lot. And they are meeting for workouts. They're going to studios together. They're doing this. And I don't mean it's prominent, but I know because we see them a lot because we're in the industry and we see the younger crew. They actually do this a pretty good bit. They train together.
Yeah.
But they one of the just cutest couples in the world that we know. They train like wild people.
Exactly.
And they have so much fun doing it.
So we work, and Chan's done some consulting work with a company called Grit Boxing in New York City, and it is a scene. It is an amazing workout, obviously, because we wrote and he designed it. But I'm just gonna toot your horn on that, baby. Toot it. But it's more that they have this whole thing where people come, instead of going to bars, they come to Grit, they work out together, and then they hang out after.
Very much in pairs.
Very much in pairs. And it's a great place to meet like-minded people. So if you're meeting somebody in a gym and you have the opportunity to hang out after the workout, it gives you that opportunity to talk and meet.
And look, we're going to move on from this category, but not to be Captain Obvious, a group fitness class truly, and I mean this sincerely, is a great place to meet people. It truly is. And for me, it was not really the bars ever. After 25, it really wasn't anything to do with that. It really was the fitness scene where I met people that I really enjoyed being around. So whether it's spending, our last class was what that we took together?
Together. Well, I would imagine it's spinning. What one?
Yoga.
Oh,
We took a yoga class
I
together.
loved
And
it.
yoga with me is pretty funny because my lower back and hips don't really move. And so she's
Yoga?
handing me like a block in the middle of class, like a yoga block,
'Cause I'm a
literally in the middle of class. So
man,
guys,
that
look,
was a romantic moment, though.
but look, to wrap it up, a fitness date can have all kinds of details. It can be anything you want it to be. And I do think it is a wonderful way to spend time. And really, when you're actually training, there's no phones. It's just you and the weights, or you and the yoga, or you in the cycling class, or you in the HIIT class, whatever it is. You really do give your brain a break from all the responsibilities of life. And it's just a great way to connect with your partner or just a good friend. So fitness dates, a big part of our life, babe, really is.
I hope we have many, many fitness dates together.
Cheerio. What are our fitness dates going to look like at 75? You know?
I mean, hey, because we train smart, I feel like we're probably going to still be riding bikes.
If my bottom can handle it and my prostate, I'm going to still be on the ride and the bike. If it can handle it, I'm still going to be on
Just
it.
throw your prostate into the podcast.
Yeah, and I'm going to still be riding if it'll let me.
Oh,
All right, here we go. Second lifestyle habit that we would love to put out there and make you aware of it so you're conscious of it. A lot of you probably do this if you're already a fitness enthusiast because you're on the podcast. Modeling behavior for the kiddos. And that's married, not married, single, dating, it does not matter. But modeling that behavior, it could be for cousins, maybe you're an aunt, an uncle. It is a really great thing to pass on and to leave that legacy that you are conscious of health and fitness. And I know that's a big one for you. And obviously we think about us. We have 5 kids between us. And we definitely do that, but it's because we love it. We're not making this big sacrifice to model behavior. It's in us and we love it. But anyway, talk about that for a second.
Well, I think it's really, and it's modeling behavior, sometimes even for the people just around you.
Mm-hmm.
You can really inspire people to exercise because they see you doing something consistently, and the byproduct of that, or the after effect, or the result of that is that you're happier, you're less ill, you're stronger, you're leaner, better energy. So I feel like it's modeling behavior, but for my kids especially, I did think that they would never pick up exercise. Yeah. They really kind of rebelled a little bit.
Well, and honestly, you really had doubts about your oldest daughter.
Yes.
Because she really, truly though, didn't get the fitness bug until 16, 17.
Yeah, and now she made me cry the other day, just said that she went and, worked out. And
independently just did it.
So the habits that I put in my life, she sat back and watched, just like I did when my mom used to take yoga at the YMCA. My father was a big runner and cyclist, not a gym guy, but he was out there, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw it, I picked up on that, and it really did. But for Chan's kids, they stepped right into sports. They were really into sports, team sports.
Athletic from a very young age, but you have to, even though they're athletic, you still have to promote it and facilitate it and make sure that they stay on board. And sometimes really good young athletes are incredibly lazy,
right?
And so you kind of have to, because they're winning and they're beating people because they're young and they're kind of in that 10 percentile of really good athletes. You still have to push them and you still have to model it. And I can tell you 30-40 times over the course of a 2 to 3 year period, my son's 16, my daughter's 18. We've taken Orange Theory fitness classes together. We've taken yoga classes together.
That's
the last
really
class that we all took together was your cycling class.
It's true.
So Josh, Danielle, myself took your class. And so it can be a really fun way.
So this is a good subcategory of this, the modeling behavior. So say you're a family and you have, a variable age range like I do. My youngest is almost 6. And then we have all the way up to 21. So in order for us, and it's not like, okay, we're all gonna go run a mile and we're all gonna, it doesn't look like that. It's actual just play. It's movement. It's get out, get some air. It's play. Are you encouraging that? Are you doing that with them? A chance so great.
Get the hell outside.
Get outside if you can.
Please.
Get outside if you can't. The other day, my youngest she kind of got a little hyper. I mean, she's 6, but she was.
But no, it's a scenario worth sharing because she
Yeah.
was going through this crazy energy spurt about 30 minutes before bed, and Kerry had a genius idea.
I turned on an app on the television, and it's yoga for kids, and rolled out the mat. And now she's seen mommy roll out her mat. She's always wanted to do this. I pressed play.
And this is literally through Fire Stick on the TV.
Yes.
So we're accessing the internet on the TV.
It's a
Went
great
to
app. It's called Gaia. Wonderful. So over 300 different yoga videos alone. But she did the yoga. It took 10 minutes. She ended in a savasana, laying down.
Yawning.
She took a deep breath. She yawned, and then she went to bed right after. But it was genius.
So if anybody is listening to this podcast and you have a somewhat young one, all right, hey, get them into focus, because all she needed was just a mental focus point.
And movement.
Once she got the mental focus point,
You can
it was
move
done.
for energy. You can move to create energy, and you can also move to calm down.
Calm down
so
the mind.
We did that, and I'm really glad that I
it
did.
worked
But
like
it's that
perfection.
modeling the behavior. It's promoting the fitness as movement, just like you would brush your teeth, take a shower. It's a part of life. It's not an option. When it becomes an option, that's when sometimes people decide I'm not going to do that.
We know that you can't mandate it.
No.
So it's somewhere between option and mandate, and we know that people are going to get resistance. We know that parents are going to get resistance. You're possibly going to get resistance, but you just have to keep plugging along. And I think the key, you said it a little bit earlier, is to find something that really is considered kind of play, not necessarily we're going to quote unquote work out. But if you can put that, and we're gonna expand on this, I know, in the future.
Yes, I really, I'm super pod.
I know you are.
Yeah.
And so we'll definitely expand on this in future podcasts. But there's so many ways to get this done, because we do know that you're gonna have resistance. We do know that your teen's gonna want to sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday. We get it. All right, let's go to number 3: vacation fitness or travel fitness. Now, just because we are in the industry, just because it's in us, we love it, we love to move our bodies and sweat, it is actually quite difficult sometimes to go find an outlet. I'm just going to give you a real example of this trip, all right? So this trip for Kerry was quite short. This trip for me was a little longer, about 3 days longer. So do I want to pay a fee and go work out in the gym just to push and pull dumbbells around? I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes you just need to push around weight. But most of the time what I actually do is I grab resistance bands and I go to a local high school that leaves the gate open for people in the community to run stadiums, to run
or
track,
a park or a track,
or whatever. Right. And I go for it. And I don't need anything. I don't need to pack anything other than a miniband, which is the size of a sock, okay? And I put it in my bag. And just in case that's what I'm gonna do, I'm ready. And so yesterday, that's in fact what we did. And we
literally have exercise bands in our bags in the car.
Yeah, but they're tiny. They're like nothing.
No, it's perfect.
It really is like a balled up sock. It's nothing.
For you, it's moving because you were in the car for 13 hours. It's getting your back lengthened. It's getting your hamstrings.
And I want 30 seconds worth since you mentioned it.
Yeah.
When I move, my back's perfect. I don't have back issues, but I have back tightness. I get a lot of tightness in my lumbar, and it kind of goes into the glutes and the lateral part of my hips. I get really tight. Sitting is like kryptonite to me. It just breaks me down. So if I move, it's like I literally took like 3 Aleve and I feel better.
Right.
Okay, it's amazing. So I had to move and I had to sweat, and I was a little stir crazy because my mother put us to work because we actually helped her do some pretty big stuff with her home.
Can you just say it? We did a garage sale.
Well, we did a really cleansing garage sale for my mother. That's why we're actually traveling in the South and headed back. But it was no joke. Like, it was hard freaking work. We were up at 5 a.m. and we didn't stop that garage sale until 5 p.m. But anyway, I digress back. right? So this travel fitness, vacation fitness, we're not here to tell you what to do. What we are telling you is that you're going to have to seek out. It is not going to find you. No, your buddy's not going to call you and say, hey, let's go to the gym and train. You're out there on an island, basically. So you have to seek it out. And it's going to come in a couple of different ways. It can be just body weight movement. It can be, sure, go pay $10 fee and go work out in the gym. But baking it in, and I can tell you with our family, it has to be done in the morning before everything gets rolling, or it is 100% not gonna happen.
Right.
So if it doesn't happen by about 9:30, it's never gonna happen. She got my butt out of bed at 7 on my kind of mini/vacation, and but we were at the stadium by probably 8:15.
But let's take what you just said about my mini/vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Your mini/vacation still incorporates fitness.
It has to.
It is. I mean, it has to be consistent, because there's nothing worse than going on vacation. What's always hear the same thing. I did nothing but eat and drink.
Yeah.
I did nothing but eat and drink. But why can't you eat and drink, enjoy your vacation, and then as well, you get to exercise? So it's kind of like a happy medium.
Well, I can tell you, if you're training 3 to 5 days a week, and you're training pretty good, right? You're 45-minute to an hour sessions, and then you go. I'm not going to get into the science of it, but you actually lose a pretty decent amount of fitness in 6 days, cardiovascular primarily. You actually lose fitness. So to keep kind of coming back, losing fitness, and then going back, well, I'm home now. I can get back on my routine.
Well, international travel too. So international travel, a lot of my coworkers, as a master trainer, that they would travel and come back, going to California or going, to Europe.
Brutal.
And the jet lag, right? Yeah. So they have to, they still exercise. As soon as they get settled in, they go and work out, because it helps their body and their brain and their
reset.
It's a reset.
But check this out. Who's your celebrity crush?
Which one? The Rock.
The Rock. He actually posted something about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he said the only way I can reset where the time zones and stuff don't affect me, when I get off the plane. He said this, when I get off the plane, I go to a gym.
Right.
I don't go have breakfast with people. He goes from plane to work out, because it resets the pattern of working out in the morning, and it's going to give energy,
right?
And then he produced. So anyway, I just was 2 or 3 weeks ago.
So we're saying that if you are on vacation, if you're going to look for vacations, so when I go and book, I do all the travel arrangements for us, and if we're not going to work for fitness, meaning you're not going to New York for grit, where we know that we're going to be in a gym all day, right? But if we're going to do other things like consulting jobs elsewhere, I make sure that the hotel has a gym. Now, we don't need it to look like Gold's Gym, or we don't need it to have like everything. We need some dumbbells. We need a mat. Like, it doesn't matter. 15 to 20 minutes.
Worst case scenario is cardio only.
That's it.
And then body weight work.
Right. And then the put a mat down, put a bunch of towels down, but the hotel floor, you can do a lot, of exercise there. The other thing, Chan and I looked out the window, and there's this big walkway into nature.
It's a beautiful path over kind of an inlet.
Yeah.
So there's probably like a 1/4 mile wooden path that's built over a water inlet, and we're definitely going to go check it out.
Right. So we're planning our exercise before we sit in a car and do nothing. We're just going to sit and do nothing but drive. Actually, we're going to do a drive, and for me, I drive with a little bit of anxiety, so my adrenals are just already, so this is going to help me. More than that, it's probably going to help you deal with me. So there's that. So exercise on vacation, it is just part of what you do. If you want to maintain a healthy lifestyle and don't want to always have to play catch up every time you come home.
That's it. For me, that's personally a big part of it.
It's
like
huge.
going back to home and you're like, man, I've gained a pound or 2 or 3 and I got to go back and start.
Or you feel like crap.
Nah,
you come back
it's such a good feeling.
Exercise, exercise, and
Yep.
the clients are like, sorry, all I did was drink. And you're like, well, this week is going to suck for you.
These first 2 workouts at least.
Let's roll on to the big one.
Okay, so I'm not going to speak a whole lot on this one, but I am going to set it up because I bring her to Louisiana for these trips. And food while traveling is the 4th category here. And we have a few ideas about how you can manage these huge portions that you get when you're traveling and you're going to restaurants, primarily because when you're traveling, that is your choice. There is no cooking.
Right.
So splitting entrees and little things like that can be game changers, and everybody leaves full. Even if you split a freaking entree and an appetizer, everybody leaves. Yes, everybody leaves full. So in the South, Mama Ganaway and the restaurants surrounding where we were in Louisiana, it's hard, people. It's hard to find clean food, clean veggies, and
well, we're not talking clean. I mean,
well,
veggies.
you can describe what clean
Okay,
means.
let's just talk about this.
Go
So
ahead.
here we go.
You got about 2 minutes to rip it.
Okay.
Go.
Well, I like to eat greens. I like mixed greens, not just iceberg lettuce. I want fresh vegetables. And when I go to certain restaurants or places in this town in the Deep South, I find it very difficult to not find my vegetables swimming in butter. It's like not just a drizzle. It is swimming in butter. It is, fried vegetables.
Yeah.
I leave there just craving some form of green. I want to just become a rabbit.
It's almost panic mode.
It is.
Craving. Like,
it is.
I just want some clean food.
I do. So without being rude, and because sometimes I don't have, I'm also a Southern girl, and you eat what you've been served.
Where are you from, baby?
Well, I'm from Gainesville, Florida, but that's South.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this.
I'll
but
give you that one.
We are Southern people in Central Florida, most of us. But when you have to eat what you've been given, I just eat a little bit of it. I don't eat a large portion because that's just how I've learned to cope and adapt in places where I might not find abundant fresh vegetables and fruits.
But I don't want people to kind of miss the point there. It sounds really simple. It really sounds painfully simple. But if you're in a position where you're really being served, no fault of your own, and
Right.
really no choices of your own,
Right.
you don't really have them. And it's just full of saturated fat foods. Literally every portion of that meal is just that, okay? Then eat half of that.
Right.
Because
you're going to
believe
get full, trust
yes,
me.
the calorie fullness of those calories is probably going to be the same or even worse as if you would have eaten a bigger, cleaner meal with less calories. I hope that makes sense.
Well, let's talk about food in travel, right? So I talked about picking hotels that have gyms. I also pick hotels that have free breakfast,
And you said even a 3-star, 4-star, it doesn't matter really, but if it's a decent average hotel,
they're going to have
what?
right. Oh, it's weird actually. This irritates me. Sometimes the cheaper hotels, like the 3 or 4-star hotels, have free breakfast.
And decent.
But the 5-star hotels charge you for everything.
It's
What the heck is
$19
that?
for the buffet.
Jesus. Okay. So here's the deal. If you're in a hotel that has a free breakfast, right? Chances are they're going to have fresh fruit. They're going to have juice. They're going to have, most of the time, they have hard-boiled eggs or yogurt.
About half the time, they have a big bucket of oatmeal.
Exactly. So my big thing about eating is make sure you eat for your activity. We're about to get in a car.
Listen close, everybody.
We're about to get in a car and sit and do nothing, right? So am I going to choose all the big carbohydrate meals so I feel gross and sluggish and they're just sitting in my gut doing nothing? Or am I going to pick lighter foods, fruits, vegetables if they have them in the morning, and then proteins? then I can slowly graze. Now, I like to eat foods from different areas, and so I might try certain things, but it's all about portion size.
But talk about kind of the ratio, and we're not giving you specifics here. We're not writing a meal plan for you guys.
No.
But listen, if you're going to sit for 5 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours over the course of a day of travel, it is foolish to load up on the carbohydrate foods when you need to probably lean more towards
It's a low calorie
the
day.
proteins. Like,
Right.
for example, this morning, Kerry had oatmeal and boiled eggs.
I had,
Because they had it in downtown. She didn't go with the bagel. She didn't go with the donut. She didn't go with the croissant.
they look good.
She's
though.
putting, of course they do. And it doesn't mean she won't have a couple of bites. It just means that she's really going to lean towards her activity level, which is going to be extremely low today.
And it's going to be extremely low. So I wanted to pick things, and even with the oatmeal, it's just enough carbohydrates and more the fiber that I need because I'm sitting and not moving. So I won't even dive into that, but we know what that means. So a little, the digestive process in a hotel or after you've been sitting and not moving can slow down a bit. So that slows everything else down. That's all I'm going to say. But my portion size for that carbohydrate was very small. My protein is going to be much bigger, and then I'm going to add some fruit, and that's it. It's a small, maybe 350 calorie meal for me.
Right.
And maybe for Chan, as I picked his foods, he'll probably add about 100 150 just because he's larger than me. And
Now,
he's a man.
once we get out on the road, 3 hours from here, 4 hours from here, then we'll have more options. We'll have restaurants. We'll have exits that have, 10 restaurants.
But if you're going to go and have a meal out on the road, and we know that restaurants overserve people. They overserve them. So we tend to split meals. Like, I'll try to get a bowl of soup, he gets the meal, and we split it. And that way I'm getting everything I need, or I have
hungry.
And we never leave hungry, and we actually have a little more money in our pocket when we leave, and that's it. If we don't have the restaurants available, like we're about to drive and there's nothing, nada.
Yeah, we're about to be on a strip of I-10.
I-10, nothing.
It is like 3 hours of nothingness.
So there may be a convenience store. We'll go in there. We'll find, again, thank goodness they've started adding apples and bananas. Now the sugar and carbohydrates, if you break it down, but it's better for you. It's food that's not processed. That's what you want. Food that's going to make you feel good. That's ultimately feeling light in your stomach and not heavy and weighted down. But it's all about making sure that you're staying hydrated, you're eating for your activity, and
those
just
two things, if you just did those.
and portion.
An activity, meaning that if in 3 hours we had a stop planned, we were going to go take a hour training session, our breakfast would be a little different.
Which we've done, which we seek out
I love
sometimes.
doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's adventurous.
I think that there is if you have a membership at a boutique fitness studio that's a chain, or if you have a membership at a gym that's a
Anytime
chain,
Fitness or
you
LA
can go
Fitness, whatever.
anywhere
Right.
to work out. It might not be off the beaten path because more than likely they're not off a highway, but in a more residential
So
area.
you have to drive 5 miles.
So you have to do it,
It's
but
5 minutes of driving.
But it adds just so much more energy into your body, and it keeps you clear-headed. And yeah, so that's the biggest thing. I would like to also say, sleep as much as you can. Hotel sleep is
the best sleep.
such
I mean, are we
amazing.
weird? I wish someone would ride us back, because we
Yeah.
sleep like rocks
Well,
in
with
bed,
the air and the
hotel rooms.
humming, and it's pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
anyways, the food, the vacation fitness,
Modeling the behavior and fitness dates. Be aware
dates.
of those fun opportunities to have fitness dates and book them into your week. Look, we know these were 4 kind of interesting lifestyle 40 plus items, but we really do discuss these. We talk about them, and believe me, each one of these could be its own podcast, these categories, and I would imagine that we will do that in the future.
You know what I would really like? If you don't follow us yet, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, The Masters Fitness. If you are having a romantic date, or if you're traveling and making really great choices with your food and your fitness while you're traveling, would you tag us Tag us in those
You know
posts.
why that's
We'd
important
love to
too?
share that.
That's what I'm saying, exactly. We would love to actually discuss it, even share it, and maybe even on our next podcast, we mention how grateful people are doing that kind of work and having that kind of awareness. We'd love to blow you up a little bit. So
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right, gang.
Well, we're back on the road, about to drive home.
Yeah, so it's we're
time
gonna
to
be
stretch
home.
and walk and get ready.
Primarily the hips and the hamstrings.
You ready to have a date?
Hips, hamstrings, hips, hamstrings. If you're sitting, goodness, go after those two. Stretching. I think we're done here, gang. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you down the road.
So much better. Good job, baby. It was just good. Fun. Oh.